Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, this is The Ramsey Show. We help you win in your life, specifically your money, your work, and your relationships. All three of those areas are connected. We want you winning in all of them. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Ramsey Personalities co-piloting the ship today. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by the incomparable, the lovely, the gracious, graceful Rachel Cruz.
Keep it going. Just keep it going, Ken. Thank you.
About three more. Next hour, I'll do about three more adjectives. We'll just see if I can come up with new adjectives. Always good to be with you, friend.
You as well.
It is summertime. The three kiddos, lots of activities. How's it going?
Man.
Good summer so far?
We got dance camp, one riding her bike to friends' houses. I mean, they're scattered.
Isn't that
today,
fun?
Literally today, yep. But
All
it's
right.
great.
Well,
great.
It's good to have you in studio. It's always fun. Rachel's going to help you on your money questions, and I'm here to help on your work-related questions. So, hey, I'm in a toxic situation. Can I get out if I'm in the baby steps? How do I make more money? We want to help you make more income so that you get through those baby steps faster, and that's why I'm here as well with Rachel. So let's get this going. Trent joins us in Chicago, Illinois. Trent, how can we help?
Hey, Mr. Coleman, Mrs. Cruz, how you doing today?
Good. I'm glad you called her Mrs. Cruz, because I thought this was going to be Mr. Coleman and Rachel, and I was going to feel like Mr. Rogers.
The age gap
I was going to feel
is
so
real.
old. Good to talk to you, Trent. How can we help?
So, I just got engaged last month to the love of my life.
Congratulations.
And
Congratulations.
We are planning our wedding. I'm actually going out to see a venue today. But while getting ready to take this big step in my life, I decided to run a credit check on my fiance, who doesn't have, or at least to her knowledge, didn't have any credit card, didn't have any debt. And I've been following the Ramsey plan for the past 5-6 years. So I have no debt. I've been able to cash flow college and everything like that. I'm on my senior year, so I'm almost done. But in pulling her credit report, I found something a little bit disturbing. There was a credit card in her name that showed up as having a balance of $19,000.
Whoa.
And so obviously she was completely shocked by this, and I was shocked by that. So when we went back and I confronted her family, come to find out her mom had opened that card back in 2019 and had, I guess, the entire family on it from what she's been telling me. I haven't been able to corroborate that story with the rest of the family, but
wow.
She's saying that it's kind of like a family vacation card. And then she told me that she pays it off every month. And by tracking the stuff on Credit Karma, looking at the credit score and everything and the carryover balance, I know it's not true. So now I'm in a situation. I brought it up to her. She got super defensive, told me that I can't live without a credit score and the whole 9 yards of I can't get a mortgage and all that. And I told her that, listen, I've saved up. I'm going to go through manual underwriting. I don't need a credit score. I don't need debt to live my life, and I'm going to be debt free for my entire life. And she's telling me that I need to find or go to counseling financially so that I can figure out how to take care of her daughter, since obviously I don't understand finances. So here for some counseling.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, we're your counselors. Is that it?
I need a swig of Pepto-Bismol. My stomach has turned about 4 times already. My goodness.
Okay, so Trent, there's 2 elements of this. The second element I'll just hit first because I think it's an easy one. You're not going to convince her otherwise. So by you guys just going back and forth with your opinions, you're not going to convince her. She's not going to convince you. And so you have to be able to go forward in this relationship with her daughter. And obviously your fiance needs to be comfortable and secure enough in you guys to say, yeah, whatever my mom says, because she's going to be saying this, Trent, for the next 50 years possibly. You know what I mean? So like you're going to hear this all the time, and just making sure that you and your fiance are on the same page, because that's all that matters, right? The extended family, whatever they choose to do or what they believe, that doesn't matter as much anymore because it is your family. It's now you guys that once you get married, like it's you guys. So making sure your fiance and you are on the same page. And so not trying to sit there and convince your mother-in-law. So that was kind of one part. The end of your call is what you were speaking of, were those arguments. And that's so frustrating. And I'm really sorry about that. Okay. And then the first one, which is obviously the one that majorly affects you and your fiance, is, I mean, that it's illegal. She stole her identity is what she did. And I guess forged a signature. She signed for her and everything. I mean, had to have to open the credit card.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yep. So what I would do is contact, she needs to remove the balance. She needs to open up, if she's living the credit card life, that $19,000 immediately needs to be put back on her in her court. And so that's what I would say, is that the next move is that, and I don't care how you do it, when you do it, or no, I care when, but like whatever avenue you choose, this $19,000 balance needs to be off of my fiance's name because she didn't do it. Does the mom see anything wrong with it, Trent? Because here's what's messed up too, is there's a trend going around, Ken, with people opening up cards in their kids' names and doing this. And they pay bills so that their child gets a good credit score when they turn 18. I mean, there are parents doing this now.
Oh, my word.
And the whole idea is, but if they get stuck with a balance, then it's the kid's responsibility then to pay it at 18, which is just absurd. So this is exactly what's happened, but she did it in secret. So was she, like, does the mother, like, does she take any ownership in it at all? Like, to say, there's facts that there are $19,000 that you've not paid, that is your bills, not your fiance's.
No, ma'am, unfortunately, she does not. She thinks that she's helping her out by building her credit score and getting her started and giving her at least from the conversation that I've had with her, giving her a ability to, just in case we fall into hard times when we first get married,
What is your fiancé said or done to this point with her own mother?
She's a little bit more of a non-confrontational type. So, the mom has always kind of run her finances, and she still stays at home with her parents.
Hey, dude.
So
your fiance needs to close the account. It's under her name. So she needs to go and just close the account completely.
That's right.
And if this mother keeps this up, Trent, I'm like, I hate to say it, this is like where legality comes in. I mean, this is legal
this is
stuff.
financial
and
fraud.
I know, but you guys, you don't have the money, Trent, necessarily to go and fight your mother-in-law in court.
No, but here's the deal, Trent, that I'm going to tell you this. Rachel's right, but this is a serious conversation with your fiance. She has to close the account. She must confront this on some level. Or if I were you, my friend, I'm not saying break up with her, but I would hold off on the wedding until this stuff gets solved between your future wife. She's got to say, all right, Mom, boundaries here. She's got to put up some boundaries. In fact, can we get her a copy of the book Boundaries by our dear friend, Dr. Henry Cloud? Hang on the line. I want you and your wife to read this together. This is a fantastic book that will really help you. And while we're at it, get them necessary endings while I'm giving away free books. But you need some help here. And you two need to be on the same page. It's dangerous territory going forward. Wow. Thank you for the call. We're praying for you. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, being free to make your own medical decisions is a big deal these days. Christian Healthcare Ministries gives members the freedom to choose the doctors and providers they want without the frustration of worrying about networks and with no waiting period to join. It's a membership-based nonprofit ministry where hundreds of thousands of Christians share funds to pay for and pray for each other's medical bills. For over 40 years, CHM has helped families living across all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Check out more today at chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, Rachel Cruz, this hour. The phone number for you to jump in is toll-free. It is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. We'll take your questions related to your money, of course, and then if you've got some job and work questions, income-related questions. We're here to help, and taking on a topic that I don't think it's new to anybody if you're talking about money and you're thinking about money. It's money fights, Rachel. Money fights. And I've been married 25 years. You're how long? You and Winston, how many years?
I'll be 14 coming up.
So combined, we've got a lot of money fights that you and I represent. In all those years, everybody has the money fights. And fascinating article you've got. Headline, why do couples really fight about money? What is going on here? What do we know?
Yeah, so this is interesting. So this came out from psychologytoday.com. And it says, talk to anyone about their relationships with their partners, and you'll discover that every couple has disagreements. So in an attempt to identify the contents of financial issues, I think the name wrong.
Oh, Pete's.
Pete's, is that what you would say?
Yeah, they did a study. They did two studies.
Conducted, two studies. Study one, they gathered descriptions of fights about money from posts on Reddit, God bless you, from this large pool of data. They were able to identify two overreaching themes when it came to money arguments. Ken, one was concerns about fairness. Mm-hmm. Number two was perceived responsibilities. And many of them identified these issues falling under these two overreaching themes. They list some more of the issues down below. And then they did a second study where they gathered data of financial conflict from couples in a committed relationship, and two overarching themes happened in study two. Concerns about fairness and responsibility reemerged. And additionally, was mundane expenses, the conflict of that, which was related to disagreements about minor purchases, such as how much money you should spend on a birthday party.
Oh, 100%.
Or, who can pay for, related expenses. So
care-related, car-related expenses. So here's the thing. I identify with that one because we joked about this, I think, last time we were on the air. I get a little irritated at Stacey spending money on, like, little gifts. And
Ken's
she's being
not a
responsible.
giver. Ken's not a giver.
I am a giver, but women just find reasons to buy gifts, And so I remember early on. Now it's not a big deal. I'm talking early on when we were really trying to figure all this out.
Sure.
I'm talking early in marriage.
Yes.
Listen, I said I've been married 25 years. I've long since learned to let that go, or I wouldn't be married this long. Okay. So this was a long time ago, but I do remember that, like, little things like, well, we're spending this much on this little party, or here's another one that got us when the kids were little. They get invited to birthday parties. You're in the thick of this now. Are your three getting in? At least the two girls are getting invited to birthday parties all the time.
Consistently.
I'm going to venture to say that both your girls get invited to 5 to 10 parties a year minimum.
Sure.
True story?
Yes.
All right, but that adds up.
Oh, yeah. That's why I love Amazon, because you can get really cheap gifts.
And you have some good content on this on Instagram at Rachel Cruz. Check it out.
I know, because you could easily spend, for these toys that these kids want.
Ridiculous.
$50 easy. So I'm like, no, we're going to lower that. Okay, so here's what's interesting about what they found, though, Ken. The first study, concerns about fairness and perceived responsibility. I think, tell me if I'm being naive, if you had all of your money together as a married couple, like we talk about, there's not technically fairness because you're seeing it all together, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who brings in the income. The amount of money that hits our account is ours.
That's right.
And then perceived responsibility. We're all responsible for all the bills together because we're one.
It's actually perceived irresponsibility. And so, if you look at that, so what they were saying is you're being irresponsible with debt, you're being irresponsible in planning. These were the things that came up that created conflict. So they were perceiving that their spouse was irresponsible in the areas of impulses, of course, gambling, broken promises. And then under fairness, I pointed this one out, terms of arrangement, such as should we combine finances? And we talk about that a lot. Mm-hmm. If you look at another one under fairness, contributions, who's paying these expenses, and it's like that all goes away if you do what Ramsey Solutions and what we believe, which is we're all on the same team. It's not together. Your money, it's our money.
Yes.
So pretty interesting.
Okay, but why does it say perceived responsibilities up here? Anyways.
Well, are you responsible or irresponsible? So what I'm saying is the findings were...
So not just specifically about what bills you're responsible for.
That's right. Yep. It's more about are you responsible or irresponsible
in general
as it relates to debt budgeting. But here's the point. The reason I point that out is because a lot of tension there when one of them, this comes back to what our basic teaching as we begin to move people through Financial Peace University is the nerd or the spender. And so the idea is there can be tension there because the nerd, the natural saver,
Yes.
thinks that you're being irresponsible, and you go, slow your roll.
But see,
I'm not irresponsible. I'm just trying to live life and have fun.
Yep,
So,
100%. Well, and what's interesting too about that is I'm like, even the nerd could actually be the spender. And like, that's mom and dad. Dad is the nerd, but he's way the spender. My mom is a little bit more the free spirit, doesn't care about the budget, but she's the saver. So you combine all this twisting of everything, and it's all braided together there in marriage and having to figure it out. So yeah, I mean, but this is a big thing, you guys, because under all of that is budgeting, impulse spending, gambling, broken promises, planning debt. So all of that, for the most part, overarching, I hate to say fixed, because I know it's just never quote unquote fixed, but it can be this level that, we actually are way more on the same team. When you communicate, you sit down and you talk about it. So all of that, it's just fascinating. And then, all of the mundane expenses, which I tend to spend more money on.
So you take so
that's where ours
that's
come in.
right. But it's really, you nailed it there. I mean, that's what the study finds. That's where the tension lies. And so to the extent that you can go, all right, so responsibility, irresponsibility, what I'm feeling, this is a conversation to go, I feel this because this is the way I'm wired with money. Know Yourself, Know Your Money, a fabulous book that you wrote, really does help unpack stuff like this to know, wait a second, how I perceive money may be very different than how my spouse perceives money, but that's important to understand because that's where tension arises.
100%. And going into those conversations, you guys, this is one thing I feel like I've just learned over and over. It's humility. Like, I feel like I know what's right and I feel like I know what's good. But what if I don't know everything? And same with the spouse.
Possible.
Like, if you both come in and say, I feel like I can learn. So I want to learn. I want to hear what you have to say. And you both come in like that. Like, that's a totally different emotional take than I'm coming in with what I want, what I know is right. It's like these absolutes that I think really get us in trouble, Ken.
It
and
really
this is probably in so many other areas of marriage, but especially with money, like if you are the spender, go in with the saver with your spouse and be like, hey, what are they feeling? Because maybe they actually have wisdom going on within them that I can learn from. And then savers, same thing. Like, go to your spender and say, gosh, what are areas of me that probably need control? Have a level of scarcity, like these things that could be negative on your side. What can you learn from your spouse? But that humility piece, I think, putting the pride aside.
That's really good. I wrote down 4 words just looking at the study. And
do they all have the same beginning letter?
No, they don't.
Oh, man,
But
Ken.
it starts off that way. I wrote down same page, same account. I think the key to not having a bunch of big fights, same page. That means, what do we believe about debt? What do we believe about saving? Like, are we on the same page? Gambling, right. That's right. Are we on the same page? It doesn't mean that we agree on everything, but it means we're on the same page. Stacey and I have realized this in parenting. I know you and Winston are in the middle of this. You're learning your parenting styles. And as the kids get older, the conflict gets greater and your styles come out. And we have learned that, and I think this is true of money, Stacey and I aren't always on the same line. There's lots of lines on the page.
Yep.
But we are on the same page. And I think with money, I think it's as complex as parenting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stress in parenting too. And so I think if you're on the same page, we may not always only be on the exact same line, the same word, but we agree this is where we are on the same page. And I think that allows us to then go, okay, we do need to be on the same account. I'm still flabbergasted, Rachel, by the amount of couples that may be on the same page, but still have separate accounts. And that creates all kinds of weirdness.
All the time.
I don't know that you can truly be on the same page if you have separate accounts.
If you're paying for separate bills to run one household, that's just weird to me.
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't help you get on the same page for goals, a shared future. So really interesting stuff, Rachel. Hey, we're here to help you. Don't move. We got to do a few commercials, but we're coming right back. You better be here when we get back. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com now and save 45% off selected products. Visit Blinds.com today for more info.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, helping you win in your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me. This hour, the phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Bradley is on the line in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Bradley, how can we help?
Hey, how are y'all doing today?
We're having a blast. What's going on with you, sir?
I had a quick question about going to PT school.
Okay.
I was crunching the numbers down, and I was looking of how much it's going to cost, and calling the schools in the state and out of state is going to run about $120,000.
Woo.
Wait, you said wait, real quick, Bradley, in state and out of state? Because those should be two different numbers.
I looked at some out of state programs, and some of the other schools do have a little bit cheaper programs, but those are kind of far.
But this is basically what you're saying, 120.
Yes, ma'am, the average.
Okay.
And I asked about, what's the average salary coming out of PT school? Yeah. And they were telling me about $70,000 to $75,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just kind of wondering, if it's kind of worth going down that path if I'm going to possibly take on that amount of debt. I would like to do it debt-free, but looking at that amount of money, it's going to be hard to come up with that kind of money.
Well, this is a tough – I get this question a lot, and it's tough to answer because – you get to determine whether or not it's worth it. Now, it's not worth it to go into this kind of debt and to move into that price range to make that kind of money if you don't have any kind of growth beyond 70 to 75. That's a long slog, and it's going to be really hard. You think it's hard to come up with 120. It's really hard to pay it off once it's sitting on top of you. But is it worth it? It depends if that's what you really, really want to do. And I think you have to determine that first. And if you determine that that's what I really, really want to do, then you will wait as long as it takes. See, I think most people, if I were to go on the street with a camera crew, Rachel, and say, hey, are you willing to do what it takes to do something you love? And they'd go, absolutely. And then if I ask the question, are you willing to wait as long as it takes? People kind of go, how long is that? And I think that's the real tension here for you. And I know it seems like an insurmountable hill to climb. I'm going to try to walk you through that it's not. But the question is, do you really want to be into physical therapy, or is this something you're just kind of interested in and you're kicking the tires?
So when I first started my undergraduate degree, this is what I kind of wanted to do at first. And then they kind of started changing it up. It went from just a master's degree to a whole full-fledged doctorate degree.
Right.
And so that kind of, when they did that transition, that kind of turned me off a little bit from it. But I've kind of gotten this far. I'm about to finish my master's degree here in December.
In what?
Kinesiology.
Okay.
Nice. So let's pause for a second. What attracts you to being a physical therapist? What do you?
Go
ahead.
I've always liked human anatomy, physiology, specifically how to improve somebody's physiology and anatomy from an injury or or cardiovascular event, anything like that.
Okay. And what can you do with that master's in kinesiology? What fields are open to you that allows you to do that? It may not be exactly physical therapy, but you can still have an impact on someone's physical health and performance. And I think that's what you're drawn to. Am I right? And I'm trying to summarize that.
Yeah, that aligns.
Okay, so here's the deal. What else can you do with that master's in kinesiology, or maybe a little bit more certification process, but not the full-blown $120,000 degree? What's available to you?
So in my undergraduate degree, I had an opportunity to work at a cardiovascular rehab clinic in a hospital.
Great.
And I can go that line of work, but I was trying to find jobs online and calling around, and it's not as plentiful as physical therapy.
It's okay, but let me throw it to you this way. Let's say that I made a phone call today and I had a job for you in that role. Would you take it without looking, or would you go, nah, I think I'm going to stay the course and try to do PT?
The role in cardiac rehab?
Yeah.
I probably would, yes, sir.
All right, so here's my point. It's worth waiting and looking and knocking on doors, connecting to get into work that allows you to, again, as I summarized it, help people in their physical health and performance, and not have to go into debt and not have to save and wait for years. You're qualified right now to do what it is you want to do. You're just going to have to shake the tree a little bit and be patient and be persistent. That's not a fun tension.
Bradley, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So here's what I would say. Because of how you answered all of Ken's questions, it's not like it was this dream since I was 5 years old to go and be this, and now I'm here.
That's right.
It was kind of like, oh, this is, in general, what I enjoy, what I'm good at, what I like, and so I'm going to go in this direction, and then it suddenly started to funnel down to PT. And now that you're funneling back, you're looking at other options. So what I would say is do what Ken said. I would not go for this. I would not go into any more school that I have to take out debt for. So I would just draw a very hard black and white line right there and say, okay, now what are my options? Possibly exactly what you were just describing to Ken. Take some time, find that job. And then Bradley, honestly, when you're 28 years old, you may say, man, I would love to go to PT school.
That's
and
right.
your job at that point, you'll be able to save some great cash and you'll be able to go back for your degree. I've known lots of people that have done that. So it's this idea that we have to cram all of our stuff, all of our schooling before we're 24, 25 years old, I think it's just crazy because you may not even know what you want to do. And that's not a bad thing, but this more general, practitioner of what you want to do. So go that direction. And then if your passions start to turn in the next few years, then
you
go back to
save
school.
Up for it.
Yeah.
What do you do now for a living, and how much do you make?
So I'm a graduate assistant, so I have my master's degree being paid for right now.
Oh,
I work
awesome.
for the university.
It's great.
And so I get a little bit over $1,000 each month, just enough to kind of cover the lights and food.
But I mean, are you doing anything in this lane of physical therapy or something like a trainer or anything like that?
Not right now. So my assistantship is all research based. So
okay,
the professor I work with, we work in the physiology lab, doing ECGs and putting people on treadmills and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Both my boys play football, and I will tell you that they've both been through major injuries and both surgeries in the last season. Boy, I'm done with that. But I will tell you that they go to a great school, and they're the head trainer, the athletic trainer, which is working for a local clinic, and then they're assigned to the school. They work hand in glove with their physical therapist because both boys are recovering from surgery. I'd look into that space as well and just see what does a ladder look like? What can you make 50? Can you make 60? I think getting an idea now while you're in school of what are all my opportunities that, to Rachel's point, might set me up to the point where I'm making good money and I'm saving. And if I want to pull the trigger on the PT later on, maybe someone pays for it because I'm a part of a larger organization. You have to see. But I think what's happened is you have selected being a PT because it looks like the most attractive career step with more jobs available. But he answered that question like, if that cardiac therapy job opened up today, he'd take it.
Yep.
So don't be discouraged because there's not as many of those jobs. But let's also look at all the different jobs that would fit that. And then, hey, how about going after some of those and going, listen, here's where I'm at. If a job opens, I'm ready. I'm willing. And you make the connections, you hustle. And I'm going to give you a book that I wrote called The Proximity Principle, and it deep dives into how to turn connections into opportunities, getting around people in different fields that are all connected to the type of work you love to do. So hang on the line, Bradley. I want to give you that as my gift. And what it does is it's going to demystify how to find opportunities. Yep.
And Bradley, I just applaud you on even asking the question, because there's a lot of people that we talk to on this show and that are out there that PT was always going to be their next step. And regardless of price tag or not, they keep going. And then we talk to them when they're 28 and they're $140,000 in debt because they haven't been paying and interest is built. You know what I mean?
Barely making ends meet.
Yeah. And so it's just, you just saved yourself a lot of life,
so
Bradley,
true.
I think, by even just asking the question. So well done. I'm glad you called.
I know no one wants to be a physical therapist and have two side hustles.
Yes.
That's what I know. And that's what you're going to do.
It's tiring.
If you go into debt for a PT degree and then have to get in and pay your dues. So great question, great discipline. I believe there's another path or two or three for you that would work, Bradley. So good on you, sir. And thank you for the call. All right, she's Rachel Cruz. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show. More coming right up. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show, helping you win in your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, and Rachel Cruz joins me this hour. Hey, if you're a new listener or viewer, first we want to say welcome. We're thrilled you're here. We're experiencing some tremendous growth, but we also understand that if you're new to all this language, we've got 7 baby steps, and we talk about gazelle intensity and all kinds of things, and it's a lot. But it's actually a really simple process, and we've got a website option for you at RamseySolutions.com, and there's a button there called Get Started, and that will allow you to kind of click, get in there, figure out where you are in your financial journey as we teach these 7 baby steps to living like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. That's RamseySolutions.com. Click on Get Started, and we are here to help. Again, thank you for joining us. New York City, the Big Apple is where we go next. Michael is there. Michael, how can we help?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Oh, we're having a blast. What's going on?
I need some help in terms of what is my next step in terms of paying stuff off or moving forward. It's a little bit of uncharted water for me, and I need a little bit of help.
All right, lay it out for Rachel here. What's going on? Show us the financial picture.
All right, financial picture. I have $200,000 in student loan debt. Uh-oh, right? Everyone's worried.
We've heard this before.
Hey, Michael, you're normal.
Yeah.
We hear all these. It's a lot. It's a lot, but we got you.
So I hit you with the bad news first. But I will tell you, if you ask me today, are you sorry you did that to yourself? I'm going to say no. So I'm an immigration attorney. That's what that $200,000 is for. The greatest job I have. I work for myself, and I absolutely love it.
Good for you.
My wife is just graduated with her nurse practitioner license, and she works in the operating room here in New York. Between the two of us, we make about $350,000 a year. In terms of debt, we have no debt except for a mortgage of $120,000 at this point. In terms of savings, right now I'm able to save about a third of my wife's salary, which goes directly into 401ks, which right now we have about $150,000. Cash right now, I have about $200,000. I could pay off this student loan debt if I wanted to. I don't know if there's a possibility. I know in the past, in terms of paying off debtors, you're sometimes able to wheel and deal, throw a one-time payment down, and maybe they take it. I just don't know whether it's beneficial to me. And on that $200,000, I'm making 4% interest in the bank, just kind of waiting, even though my 401k is making 10 or 15%. Really, I'm kind of in a holding pattern of what to do, how to go forward. I know when if in fact I was to die, even though I'm still in my 30s, the student loan debt will die with me. It's not something that my family is going to have to deal with. But I'm just a little bit unsure of where to go from here in terms of what to pay off, how to move forward. It's actually a good problem to have. Just looking for a little
Michael,
advice for it.
So your question is, do I pay off the house or do I pay off the loans? Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. That's the general question,
All right.
yes.
Yeah. Well, the short answer is I would pay off the loans first. And is $200K you have saved? That's all the liquid cash you have?
Right.
Okay. Because I would take some of that, Michael, and keep it for an emergency fund. Do you guys have kids, you and your wife?
We have 3 kids. Yeah.
3 kids. Okay. I always venture more on the conservative side of just having cash in the bank. So I would have more like a 6-month emergency fund. So you and your wife look at your budget and say, hey, expenses wise, what does it take to run our household per month? Multiply it by 6, keep that amount to the side. And then I would write a check for majority of this money and go ahead and put it towards your student loans. And then you guys, I would pause 401ks, even if it's for 2-3 months. I would go through the hassle doing all of that to pay off the student loan as quickly as possible. Because once that's paid off, all that consumer debt is done. And then you guys can turn right back around, be funding retirement. 15% of your income into a retirement is what we recommend. And then I would be looking at your mortgage, which with your income, Michael, you guys could be debt-free completely so quickly. It's really encouraging looking at your numbers. So that's the progress I would do. And I'm walking you through what's called the baby steps. And it's our 7-step plan that we really go by because it's the most efficient and effective way to build wealth, we have found. And the most effective way, meaning that you're also going to probably keep your wealth, because within that, you're making decisions in your life and in your money where you have a really strong foundation financially with this, having no debt and an emergency fund in place, but also you're starting to switch the way you're viewing money. You're starting to switch your habits that will actually be able to handle the wealth that you're going to create later because, you guys are doing incredible stuff, but that's the order I would do it. I would be paying off the loans as quickly as possible, the student loans, and then press play back on retirement, 15%, and then be paying off the house.
Okay. In your opinion, do you think that a student loan provider is at least open to the idea, or have you ever heard?
Is it private loans?
Someone negotiating?
Private?
No, it's through the government.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
I hate to say it. Medical, usually I feel like you can negotiate. there's different realms of it.
Michael, it's not illegal for you to take a shot, man.
Ask,
Why not?
So true.
If I tell them $130,000, I'll write you a check right now.
Right.
And they could, write off the rest of the 70 to keep as my emergency fund.
I love it. I put a little extra New York accent on that too when you do it. I like it. A New Yorker tells me a one-time deal, $130,000. Let's do it. Bada bing, bada boom. Maybe it works.
We got it.
And even if it doesn't, I'd still pay off a chunk of this though, Michael, if I were you. But
agree,
ask. Why not?
Sure.
It's the government, so I don't have a lot of hope in it. But
the only thing that was really holding me back was, like I said, it's just something that if I passed away suddenly.
Yeah, but you're not in bad health, Michael, are you?
Right. No.
So the stats of you dying is very low. It's very low.
That reasoning is kind of weird. I shouldn't pay it off because if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, you don't want to think about that, And here's the deal. As Rachel said, you're totally free of this. This is a massive amount of money, and to have amassed the amount of savings that you have to take a huge chunk out of this and pretty quickly pay it off, really excited for you. This is just a picture of life on the other side of this. I think that's the visual for you.
And Michael, I do wonder for you, because even just talking to you, you're a pretty logical guy. But what we have found too, Michael, is that money, it's not just the math we look at, which we look at that a lot, but there's something physiological too that happens when you owe someone money. And there's this level of freedom, I think, emotionally, spiritually, that even your body is going to get out of this self-protection mode that it even is when you owe someone money. When someone has their name on your life that you have to owe, regardless of how people, factor their way out of it through the math and all the things. Like, there is still something to be said about holding that. And so for you, Michael, I would be so curious with you and your wife, if you guys just go crazy and you pay this off, like the weight that is lifted that you're carrying that you may not even realize you're carrying.
Right.
What? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so,
what is your home worth?
$500,000.
Dude, you're gonna be debt free and have a $500,000 house paid off. That's what what Rachel's talking about. What's that going to feel like? And I think you got to catch that vision that she's given to you there. And it's a no-brainer. So you ready to do it? It feels like you're still chewing on this a little bit. We told you what we would do, but it's your call. What are you going to do, Michael? I got to know. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to think about it a little bit more. I'm going to digest what you told me.
Well, wait a second. What were you thinking about doing before you called us? Which way were you going to go? I think I know.
Can you believe it? It's actually neither. It's actually neither.
You would have kept it all.
You were going to sit on the cash.
No, I'm not going to sit on it. I really didn't explain the whole story to you. So I worked for someone for 6 years as an immigration associate for someone. And in the last year, I've went out on my own, and I've really just kind of blew the roof off of Long Island immigration.
Okay.
And what I was thinking about doing is reinvesting it into myself and reinvesting into a business.
Well, I would say if you pay off those student loans, that is a massive investment in yourself and remove that weight. But I hope you do that. I hope you see that that's the best play. But either way, excited for you in your future. You'll figure this out one way or the other. I hope you get rid of that debt. It's going to change your life. Rachel Cruz, great hour. Thank you, my friend, for hanging out. I want to thank our team, Austin, and the crew behind the glass that keep us on the air. And we want to thank you, America. This is your show. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, this is The Ramsey Show. It's where we help people, you, win in your life, specifically your money, your work, and your relationships. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by the gracious, the lovely, the talented Rachel Cruz this hour. Always
Thank you for
fun.
the adjectives. Thank
Absolutely.
You, Ken.
She is fresh off a full summer, 3 littles. It's I bring this up because, they're all getting older now, and now they're getting busy. They got activities.
Well, can I tell you, my brain feels like it's in 8 different directions, aka why I said the baby steps last hour.
What?
So if anybody was listening, I am fully aware I skipped baby step 1 and went right to baby step 3. So
yeah, she was thinking about goldfish.
$1,000 emergency fund before you're completely debt free, including student loans. Pay those off, and then get a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. I know this, Ken.
I do.
But my mind is going to daughter's at a friend's house. Amelia's riding her bike home. Want to make sure she gets home safe. Winston's taking Charles.
Now, I love that
everywhere.
Amelia is riding her bike home from another friend's house in the hood.
Isn't that a dream? Well, it's neighborhoods that connect.
But that's a step.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you and I grew up doing that.
I know. And it feels so good. Because I want her. I'm like, I want you to live the childhood that you all deserve. So we got her an Apple AirTag.
And so you know where she's at.
So she has like a little bracelet so we can track her.
And she knows what time to ride home.
Yes. And I have the parents' number too. So they're like, she's leaving. And I'm like, thank you.
But
and I'm
it's
like,
a big
8 minutes. She has 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Big deal when you see her rolling in the house.
100. And she feels so big.
Big girl. That's exciting. Fun
so great.
stuff.
You live in a good neighborhood for bike riding.
Oh, yeah. Highly recommend it. If you can get into a neighborhood where your kids have some freedom and it's safe, let them go.
So
back in the day, and boy, I'm old now.
No.
We would disappear this is summer morning. We'd leave at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And wouldn't come back until 5:30, 6 o'clock. And my parents had no earthly idea where I was.
I know. Okay, I know this is nothing. It has nothing to do with the show. Real quick though.
Well, I think we can tie it in.
We'll find a way to talk about money in this.
Yeah.
But do you
freedom.
think, Ken, with your older age than me. Is it truly that it's become more dangerous? Do you think, because the world does feel more dangerous, or do you think it's because we're so used to having a handle on everything all the time because of technology?
Oh, I love this.
Which is it?
This is a hot take right here. I don't believe the world is more dangerous. I believe that creeps and evil was around when you and I were kids.
We're there
I
as
just
well.
think we're more aware and we feel afraid. We feel more danger than there is. There's no more danger than there was. We just feel it and we're aware of it. We're scared. And that example that I use is a classic example. My mom and dad obviously were responsible parents, but it was one of those situations where they're like, okay, are you going to be in our neighborhood or your grandparents' neighborhood? And you got to check in with us or your grandparents at noon for lunch. And you checked in. And
Yep.
so if we didn't check in, there would have been an issue.
Sure.
But there also wasn't, by the way, I didn't use elbow pads, knee pads, or a bike helmet. And I always get hot water for saying that, but we've gotten so safety conscious that what it has done is elevated our fear. And great marketers scare us. And the news people, God bless them, we have friends in the news industry.
Sure.
They would tell you this. If it bleeds, it leads is the old phrase. And so when you are scared in order to pay attention and you are scared in order to
and aware of what's going on the other side of the country, and immediately because of social media, like you get news and everything so quickly.
And so here's the point. We are more aware of all of the danger. I think we were just blissfully unaware back then. It was like, I probably just rode my bike by some axe murderer, but for whatever reason, he didn't get out of the car. But like now it's like you're afraid to let your kid be out of your sight in a department store. Let me tell you something. I can't tell you how many times I got lost in a department store and showed up crying at one of the registers. And they were like, would the parents of Kenny Coleman please report to the men's area? It happened all the time.
Yes.
But it never happened today. We put leashes on kids. We got a kid walking around like a Labrador retriever.
Hey, there are some kids that are runners. And if you're a mom, you're tired. I never put my kids on a leach, but I do see them sometimes.
All right, now I'm really going to offend some people.
Let
me tell you why I didn't need a leash. My dad would have whipped my butt if I had to run from him in the mall. You want to be a runner? All right, I'll teach you a lesson.
It's a lot. I get. There's a part of me. I'm like, it's more convenient for the mom of like.
I'll tell you what I like.
You can't run off.
I don't like the leash. I tell you what I do like. I like the little cute preschool thing where they grab their little loop and they grab the rope. That's kind of cool. And so if you got 3 kids, buy a rope and they all got to grab their little loop.
They all have to hold on.
I'm for that.
As we go through.
There's still some free will involved in that. See, that's why I like that.
Yeah. They have a choice to let go of the rope.
I digress, but I do think this. Here's where we're going to tie it all in.
Tie us in, Ken, so we don't get in trouble.
I'm going to tie it all in. No, this is good radio. I don't care who you are. Fear drives us to make poor decisions with our money. We get credit cards as a backup plan because what if? And you've got
to pull our money out of the market because we get nervous. Yep.
So fear does play in our money, our work, and our relationships, and we have to have a healthy relationship with fear, but we got to dive into fear enough to at least be able to say, is there something here? So there you go. There's where we tie it all in.
It's great, Ken.
So there we go.
Fear will motivate you.
Yeah, don't make decisions based on fear. Let's go to Salt Lake City, Utah. Greg is joining us there. Greg, how can we help?
Hey, Ken. Hey, Rachel. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm good. So my question is, I'm on baby step 2. I've been working the plan for maybe about 4 months now. Went through Financial Peace University. And I'm almost done with all my debts besides my last one. The debt snowball really does work. And now I'm just wondering, my last debt is my car, if I should sell it or not. I really think I should sell it, but also I don't know.
Give us the numbers real quick. We got about a minute and a half. Give us the debt on it and how much it's worth.
So I owe $32K on it, and it's about $35. And I think, Rachel, you have a Tesla. It is a Tesla. I love the thing, but also it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
love it.
I don't know. Yeah.
What do you make a year, Greg?
So right now I've been gazelle intense with paying off my $20K of credit cards.
Awesome.
I just finished paying that off. I have 3 jobs, but I make like $70K with having those 3 jobs. But if it was just to be my full-time job, it'd be around like 45.
Okay, so $70K. Okay, so basically we kind of our rule of thumb, Greg, just so you know the math, we always say if you can pay it off within a year to 18 months, then you can keep it.
Yeah,
but here's the deal.
I can pay it off in 18 months.
Okay, so here's the deal though, Greg. Do you want to live that life of what you're talking about, 2 side hustle, all of this to keep the car? Or do you sell it, be completely debt free, get kind of a not, I mean, after you've been driving a Tesla, it's hard. It is hard, but go step back, get a
There's great cars besides
I know. I'm just kidding. But go get a used car.
I have no problem driving a beater.
Yeah, go get a used car and then save up the cash and buy one later just to be debt free. Like, is it worth doing all of this for the Tesla is the question. Would you do this to buy a Tesla? Would you live the two-side hustle life for it?
I don't mind the two-side hustle because,
Okay. Well, if you can pay it off in 18 months, Greg, we give you the green light. That's great. Just keep working those side hustles, pay off the car. Or if you're just like, man, I'm exhausted, I want to be out of debt, sell it, be completely debt-free, and then drive something else and save up money and get you the car again if you want in the future. So up to you either way.
Love it. Thanks for the call, Greg. All right, Rachel's got to go plug her car in while we do some commercial
For
breaks.
free at work.
We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by Rachel Cruz. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Kate is on the line in Boise, Idaho. Kate, how can we help?
Hi, how are you guys?
We are having a blast. What's going on, Kate?
Good. My question is, should me and my husband basically pay off our solar panels on our house before we pay off any of the rest of our debt? Just to give you guys a little bit of backstory, my husband is making about $70,000 to $80,000 a year. I'm in my second year of law school, so I don't have a regular income. I have a couple side gigs that bring in a little bit of extra money. The question comes from he bought a home with his ex-girlfriend. In 2021, she ended up leaving him, and his parents ended up having to purchase the home to get her off of the mortgage. I don't know why they didn't necessarily lump the solar payment into the sale of the house, but now she is calling us relentlessly and harassing us and degrading him, saying that, he's not a man for not being able to get her name off of this solar payment. So
wow, she sounds
morally,
lovely.
Yeah, we all went to high school together, so it's a fun time.
Oh, that's even more exciting.
So great.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, Kate, how much is left on the solar panels?
So those solar panels it's still $40,000. It's at a 2.99 interest rate for 25 years.
Okay, and what other debt do you guys have?
So we're in about $95,000 of debt. Besides that, we have a truck payment that she actually got repoed that was in his name. We have a trailer.
How much is
for the railroad?
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
He works for the railroad, so we have a trailer that he stays in, and that actually brings in a little bit more of the income. Another truck payment, and then my student loans.
Okay, how much are your student loans?
Currently, right now, they're $30,000.
Okay.
I still have 2 years to finance, and so we were trying to pay this off ASAP to start.
How much are the two? How much do you guys owe in the 2 trucks?
The 2 trucks are combined $26,000.
Okay.
Like I said, one of them we don't even own anymore because it was repoed when they were together.
Okay. And then how much is the trailer?
The trailer is about $30,000.
Okay. And how are you making income on that, you said?
So the way that it works as far as his work is that he gets like kind of like a hotel stipend, I guess.
Okay.
It's essentially $140, I believe, a day that he's at work. He gets it for a hotel, but since he's not staying in a hotel, basically he pockets that, and then we've been making payments on the trailer.
How much is the payment per month on the trailer?
The trailer is $310.
$310. Okay. And how many days is he staying in the trailer and getting the stipend?
So he works 8 days on, 6 days off. It's kind of a rough estimate because sometimes he does work more days, nevertheless.
Okay.
So,
okay. Oh man. And she wants to be off the solar panel loan because obviously you guys they're not using it, but they both agreed to get the solar panel on this home, correct?
Correct.
It was not against her will. She willingly put her name on that loan, correct? He didn't go behind her back or do anything like that.
Yeah,
and you're paying it on. Are you behind on that payment on that bill?
No, we're current on it. I can only assume because she got remarried about 6 months after she left him. So I'm just assuming that maybe she's trying to purchase a new home with her husband, or I don't have any idea.
Okay. Well, if I were him, I would want her off of it too, and not have this attached loan right together, because it doesn't sound like a very amicable relationship. But also it's unfair for him to take but the solar panels are with the home.
Well, the home is now, if am I understanding this right?
The home is owned by his parents.
His mom and dad own the home?
Yeah, so when they purchased the home, she put a little bit of her own savings into it. So that was another thing that she harassed him about, and he ended up agreeing to sell the home to his parents because the market went up a little bit. So he ended up cutting her a check for what she put in her savings and a little extra.
Right, but that's fine. What we're trying to do is figure out what you can do here. And so the parents own the home that the solar panels are on, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I guess I'm with Rachel. You're never going to get a nickel from her on those anyway, so I'd get her off of it just so you don't have to deal with her anymore. I would never want to talk to this woman again.
But the home is being benefited by the solar panels. So do his parents,
if I was a parent, I'd go, that's not my problem. I already bailed you out once.
Right, but I know, but what she's saying is though, because usually, is it right, Kate, that the solar panels, you just kind of lump it in with the mortgage because it's using to run the household.
Is that what is happening?
I don't know. So it's a separate loan, not with the house.
Yeah, this is already a mess, and you need to remove yourself from this woman. There needs to be massive boundaries. So, Rachel, unless I'm missing something, to the extent that you can contact the solar panel folks and take her name off the loan, I would do it. If that's what your question was.
Our issue is I don't have a job. A lot of when they go and pull his credit, a lot of it is the fact that they have that vehicle that was repoed. And then on top of it, our debt to income looks so substantially high because we're still trying to clean up the mess that they basically created.
Yeah, and yes.
Okay, well then don't do it then. You're paying on it, right?
Yeah. No, we make the payments every month. We pay the mortgage every month. We basically just transfer over the money to his parents. We're not behind on
You know what? Honestly, Kate, if I were you guys need just a breathing room. As I'm looking at your numbers, I'm like, way more than half of your annual income is trucks and trailers. There's a part of me that I'm like, get rid of the $30,000 trailer. Go stay in the hotel, take the stipend. They're paying for it anyways. That'll give you $30,000 of breathing room. I would look at the one truck's repoed, but what is the other truck that you actually own? What is it? What's it worth, and how much debt is on that?
So that one's $13,000. I don't know what the value of it is, but it is his work truck. He's a mechanic for the railroad. So that's what he drives around, to go.
Let me just tell you right now, okay, since he's a mechanic, I can't do any of this stuff that I'm about to tell you. But if that car, let's say that truck's worth $15,000, I'd sell it and then go get a beater or something like that because he can fix it. And we're just trying to get out of this.
Just trying to get some breathing room, Kate. It is a lot. You said there's a lot of ratio from income to debt, and you're exactly right. So if I were you guys, you're carrying so much of this weight around. I would want to start dropping some weights where I could that made sense. But some of these you can't drop. You can't drop the $30,000 student loan. The dang solar panels are there, but you can drop a trailer, you can drop a truck. You guys need to start making progress with your money to at least get your head above water. And Kate, I'm going to say this too, because I feel like in good conscience, I can't get you off the phone before I do. 2 more years of law school and not being able to pay for it. You guys are going deeper in debt. The hole you're in, you guys keep digging out the bottom. And so I would really kind of prioritize and look at where are we at? What are our goals? I know that's a lot we just put on you, but I would make some drastic moves, Kate. I would, because it's just stuff.
You know what?
It's just stuff.
To that end, this is crazy. But I would ask somebody, what if I go over to the in-laws' house and we take them solar panels off the top of the house and resell them?
Can we resell them?
I'd trek into it. Somebody's got to know that. Somebody's got to know. I would try it. I mean, it's a solar panel.
Try to sell them if you can. I don't know.
Wow. I need to look that up. This is The Ramsey Show.
Well, you've all played the telephone game. The first person whispers a message to the second person, who whispers it to the third, and so on around the table until the original message has completely changed. Multiply that confusion by 100 if you run a business with different software systems that don't talk to each other. That's why there's NetSuite by Oracle. In the early days of Ramsey, we were using different systems for all of our business units. We needed one single source for accurate data. NetSuite was the software we used to optimize and take us to the next level. NetSuite gave us the visibility into all of our numbers so that we could communicate across departments and plan ahead better. And as we grew, it scaled with us. NetSuite worked for Ramsey, and it will make a difference for your business too. Join the more than 34,000 customers who trust NetSuite to help make them smarter and make better decisions and level up their operations. To learn more, get a free product tour at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by Rachel Cruz this hour. We're here for you, helping you win with your money, your work, and your relationships. The phone number to jump in if you'd like to is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Okay, so I want to give you all some updates on where we're at in our economy right now. New jobs report information out, but then overall economic report. And this matters because you see so many headlines, you see so many things in the news, and are we in a recession? Will we go into one? All this kind of stuff. But let me just tell you where we're at, a couple of things as it relates to inflation, okay? New inflation numbers in. Inflation was at 3% in July. That's year over year. And that is a drop. If you'll remember back to last June, Rachel, it was at 9.1%, okay? And so core inflation is at 4.8%. That is the lowest since October 2021. So it'll be interesting to see if you begin to see that in your pocketbook, okay? And now some other good news as it relates to your income. Wage growth is significantly above inflation for the first time since March 2021. Wages are up 4.4%, and inflation is up 3% in the past year. So we're looking back at the last 12 months, year over year. So it'll be interesting to see, do we stay in this continued hot job market because we are in a good job market? So we'll see how that relates to groceries and gas. But where is inflation right now?
Yep.
The very interesting list, by the way, I'm sourcing Heather Long, who is the economy reporter for the Washington Post. And this is not her opinion. This is data from the latest report. So in the past year, so where are we feeling inflation as Americans? Rent up 8.3% in the past year. Eating out, as far as eating out costs, 7.7%.
Eating out. Can we just sit on that? People get so mad at us when we're like, eat in, it's cheaper.
Well,
they lose their minds. Like, no, it's not.
7.7% increase
and rent,
in everything.
housing in general takes up a big bulk of inflation number in general. So that being up 8.3% is big. Yep, eating out.
This next line is
crazy.
one you don't think about enough until you get to the old emergency fund. And people driving older cars, versus do I drive a Ramsey car, if you will, versus a brand new car? Well, car maintenance, the cost of your maintaining your car up 12.7%. Car insurance, this is crazy. Plus 16.9%.
Yes, up almost 17% from last year. That's
insurance
so
rates up. Now, where has inflation eased? At the gas pump,
yes,
Rachel. This is
we
good
have
news.
felt that.
Negative 26.5%. Used cars. This is a good sign, by the way, because used cars were really hot. Now we've seen a dip in used car prices, drop negative 5.2%. This is barely registering, but meat has dropped just 0.2 of a point. And if you have two teenage boys like I do,
doesn't matter.
Let me tell you where we felt it, and I'm no joke. The amount of tacos, hamburger meat,
oh yeah,
and bacon that I buy. I mean, it's unbelievable.
So much.
Yeah.
So
wait till Charles becomes a teenage boy. You're going to think he's got a tapeworm.
Yeah.
They just keep eating and eating and eating. It's fantastic.
I don't know where it goes.
And then this is exciting for Rachel.
I know.
Because she declared this was the year of travel, as I recall. I thought we had an event last fall. You're like, I'm excited about traveling. Well, it looks like airfare has dropped. According to this, airfares have dropped 18.9%. So,
and that is true. We were looking at some stuff for the fall, and and like there was like one way was like $200 with America. I mean, it's back to like what I feel like was reasonable.
Really good rates
for the most part. So
really good rates.
That's where we're at. Thanks, Ken, the economist.
Yeah, well, no, just a man of the people trying to give you.
Appreciate that.
So here's the good news.
Yeah, it's down. We can celebrate that because we talked about how much inflation is up, y'all. I mean, it's down to 3%.
That's good for the household budget. Now, here's the deal.
Okay, go.
Wage increases are up still, so here's the deal. You can still make more money, but please don't spend it. Save it.
Yes.
Put it towards the baby steps. Put it towards the baby step 2. If you're in the middle of that, hey, I am working the debt snowball. You get to that emergency fund, baby step 3. If you're in 3B, where you're trying to save for that first, here's the point. Get it while the getting is good. Wages and jobs still good, but we are starting to see some inflation drop.
That's a great point for the household budget expenses because Winston and I, we use EveryDollar, which is our budgeting tool. You guys, if you have not done EveryDollar, make sure to get this. We've had it out since 2015, and it helps you get organized, save money, and build the life that you really want. It's really helped us in so many ways. And so it's great because I can go back and look at last year's monthly, budget and to be able to like, okay, realistically, where were we at? And it will help you say, okay, where can I cut stuff? Because things have lowered here, lowered there, up to, like everything that list you just read out, Ken. But it helps you really plan it. So I'm going to just say it again because it is my favorite. And I was looking at it even during the break. But EveryDollar, our budgeting app, it's incredible. And the premium plan, you guys, is the thing that I would get because it actually connects to your bank. You can do paycheck planning, goal setting, budget reports. There's financial coaching even in there, group coaching. Like there's so much in this EveryDollar premium. And for right now, we're actually giving you $15 off your first year of the premium version of EveryDollar. And so that's going to be $64.99 for the first year versus it being about $80. So go to everydollar.com/Rachel and please say EveryDollar or to type that in, but put in Rachel. Again, everydollar.com/Rachel. and make sure you get $15 off because that premium version of Every Dollar that connects to your bank, again, it allows you to do so much when it comes to paycheck planning and road mapping. But you guys, like, this is the stuff when we talk about that inflation's back down to 3%, like Ken said, that is money in your pocket. And if you've gotten a raise and if, you're seeing that wage increase, use that margin, you guys, and be intentional with it. Budget it. Know what's going on, because it's so easy on all scapes, depending on what's going on in the economy.
That's right.
Just to completely lose that. And the lifestyle increase is real. That budget creep, that lifestyle creep is real if you're not watching your numbers. So be diligent in this, you guys. I mean, the intentionality that Winston and I do for our budget, we're consistent with it. It's because I'm like, you work hard for your money, right? I'm like, you're going to work, you're, for some of you guys, you're traveling, you're commuting, you're dealing with people at work you don't like. I mean, like, there's just so much that goes into working. And if you make that paycheck, let it go far. And being intentional and having your numbers in a budget with Every Dollar Premium, it's the thing that's going to help you.
Yeah. And so, I want to stay here for a minute, because here's what I want people to understand. We have a lot of new people, Rachel, as you know, joining us all the time. If you live financially the way that we teach here, you are recession proof. You are inflation proof. Now, I don't want that to sound overly simplistic, so let me qualify that. It doesn't mean that inflation doesn't suck and you won't feel it. The difference is it won't break you. And so here's what we know. When a recession comes and goes, and depending on the economy and what that means, because sometimes you can go through a recession, it doesn't affect your job at all. Sometimes you get laid off. When you have financial peace and you understand the process of how to budget, we're talking about every dollar, you can adjust things on the fly because you have control. And I think that's the thing I want to point out, because if you look at rent is still very high.
Yep.
So you got some people going, wait a second, in this economy, it's so, well, I can adjust in other areas of my life.
That's right.
If I'm having to rent because I'm not able to buy, where else am I going to cut? Because I have control over a lot of my expenditures to be able to weather these storms. You hope to see rents drop. Rent has been on a steady increase. I just was looking at the details. While inflation is down in June, 70% of the 3% inflation was solely dedicated to rent costs going up.
Yes,
so
it's a lot.
And so that's hurting people.
Yeah.
We're talking about shelter.
That's right. That's right.
So I wanted you to speak to that briefly, just encourage them 30 seconds here on how they could control those four walls and the rest of their spending to go, hey, I'm going to have to buckle down to make it through this storm.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it is the food, shelter, utilities, and transportation. It's the things that you have to have. And the hard thing is I'm like, to make sacrifices on those, it's not fun. It's not fun to be like, oh my gosh, we can't eat exactly what we want to go to the grocery store and buy everything. We may not be able to rent in the place we want to rent or the type of, location we want to rent. Maybe we have to drive further out, but getting those under control, and that's going to give you a level of peace, because those are the things that you're worried about. Is like, do I have a roof over my head? Do I have food that we can eat? So when your budget is really tight on that, make sure that those things are covered first.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. Don't move. More of your calls coming up. She's Rachel Cruz. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by my colleague Rachel Cruz. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. Let's go to Jeannie, who joins us in Miami, Florida. Jeannie, how can we help?
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Ken. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I just wanted to start with my question is, should I stay in a toxic work environment for a pension and full medical benefits? I have 7 years and 7 months left before I can retire.
No. Now, I want to dive in and I want to help you, but the simple answer is no. Because what is probably happening, and you can tell me, but I'm going to guess that that what is probably happening is having a mental, emotional, and physical impact on your body. And gritting that out for 7 more years is not good for your health. And so I would never tell someone to do something that's not healthy for them. So that's where I start. So what's going on? What's the toxicity and how's it affecting you?
A backstory, instead of complaining about management, my husband and I are both in the same line of work. I decided to take the supervisor's test, and 9 days before I was completing my probationary period, I was told that I don't meet expectations. However, I am allowed to sign up for the next supervisor test, which my husband has also decided to do. When on my probationary period, I was doing great up until a specific evaluator. And again, by state statute, I'm not allowed to contest the probationary period. However, I don't mind, taking it again. I have already, since this has happened, an incident happened at work that I had to contact HR to file a complaint. And I'm just a little bit worried about, I know retribution and everything, but I loved my job, what I was doing. And I think if God allowed me to go back into it, I could work through it because I didn't matter the politics and everything at work. I loved what I was doing.
Is this at the same company?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm confused. You were in a job that you loved and you applied to be a supervisor and you haven't gotten it. So what job are you in?
I was on a probation period. So you're allowed to be a supervisor for a year.
Oh, I see. So you're in it, but you're in a situation where it's toxic, and you haven't told me what's toxic about it. Well, what is so toxic?
Basically, the supervisor that started my last 4 or 5 evaluations was just very condescending, and that's just the way he is, just his nature, his personality. I went along to get along because, unfortunately, I do work it's a police department. So, it's a male-dominated environment. I went along to get along. His behavior has never been, corrected or anything like that. And
okay. So let me ask you this: can you put up with him long enough to see if it's going to be a possibility for you to go back to your previous role?
Yeah, he wouldn't have to be my supervisor. Like, because of the complaint I already just filed, I don't know if he's even allowed to technically be my supervisor now. I don't know.
But here's what I'm asking. So the way you pose the question is, should I leave a toxic situation? And I said no. I mean, should I stay in a toxic situation? I said no, but I'm not sure that this is toxic now after talking to you. And I'm not in any way trying to belittle or disagree with you, but it feels to me that this is something that you love the previous role of being a police officer. You don't like the supervisor part of it. And there's a possibility that you can go back to just being a police officer. And I'm saying, can you stay in the supervisory role long enough to determine whether or not they'll say, you know what, we get it, Jeannie, you don't like it, you want to go back. I'm asking, can you stay in there long enough? Because that's going to change my answer potentially as to whether you stay or go. So what is the answer?
No, so I'm confused about the question, I guess.
Okay, you're in a supervisor role right now that you don't like.
No, I'm no longer. They removed it from me 9 days before my probationary period is set to end.
So I'm confused. You're back in the position that you used to love, yes or no?
No, I was a police officer, and instead of complaining about management, I decided to stop complaining and put in for the a supervisor position, like take a test. So I took a test, and I made the list, and I was made back last year.
Okay, but you're not happy where you are, bottom line.
Correct.
Yeah, then leave. Okay. Here's the deal. You have 2 options. I'm a little confused, and I don't want to keep confusing the audience because if I'm confused, they're confused. But so here's the deal. You have 2 options. You either stay where you are in a role that you don't enjoy, we're clear on that, until you can get clear from your leaders that you could go back to the other role. And if you can't, then you need to leave because it's not worth 7 years of being unhappy. Mm-hmm. That I'm clear on. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Because you financially, we can help you win.
But Jeannie, does it help that because you filed this complaint recently that he may not be? Is he the toxic part of the job? Is he the only part? Because if he's not if you're not have to report to him, Does that help the situation where you're at?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think that's going to happen?
No, I won't. There's so many supervisors that I won't need to be. I can easily never have to work with him
Okay,
again.
so does that solve your problem? Like, could you stay and you're never going to have to report to him? So is it still toxic?
Yeah, I could stay and then take the test again and try to pass and then redo the probationary period. Yes, that, and then, I mean, and again, I know that I wouldn't see that person again, so that would be great. Yeah, I could stay there and do the job continue to do the job that I loved.
Okay.
Well, so then there it is. If he's the only toxicity in this entire situation and it's removed, then stay. But again, back to my answer. If you get to a point where you're not happy there and you don't want to go in every day, you don't
stay.
do that for 7 years.
Yeah, and you don't stay for, the pension, the health care for 7 years.
Because you can go get good health care and the pension, we can put you with a SmartVestor Pro, can help you transition all that. You never, here's the bigger, because we get this question. Well, it's a very good question, by the way, by Jeannie.
Yep.
Okay. Never stay in a situation at work that you are very unhappy with just because you have good benefits, because the detrimental effect on your mind, your soul, and your body, mental, emotional, physical,
way outweighs
the
a pension.
data is very clear. Yeah, you'll wreck your body.
Yep.
There's all kinds of, it affects your immune system. I mean, nerd out here for a second, but when you are unhappy at work and you are unfulfilled and all of the stress and the longing that comes with that, it begins to build up into what they call burnout, which is an actual symptom, but that has the effect of immune system being lowered, your energy is lower, you can put on weight. I mean, it goes on and on and on. That doesn't even count for the maybe anxiety,
right?
Depression,
right?
So,
oh yeah.
I don't want to make this like this big scary thing, but you are a whole person.
That's right. That's right. So your work, your parenting, right? Your marriage, everything, it is all one, you guys. And so there's not just one part of your life that you're like, well, I'll come over here and be in a terrible environment for 8 hours a day and everything else in my life is going to be okay. It's not. It's going to affect every part of your life. So as much of a holistic picture that you can get of health all the way around with your money, with your relationships, with your work, everything, you just enjoy life more, you guys. And so, and I know that's easier said than done because people are in really tough situations and changing jobs is really difficult. It's scary. Right. I mean, there's a lot of logistics there. We understand that. But for the betterment of you, that's worth it. And what Ken's saying is exactly right.
And to your point, we're also saying, don't jump. Don't just jump without a plan. Come up with another job. And so we move, we take care of us, but there's no risk here. And I think it feels risky. But what we would teach you is, unless you're in an abusive danger, like your life is in danger, or there's something really creepy going on to where it's like, leave today.
Yeah, sure.
And let's find another boat to get on.
Yep.
And we step onto that boat and we move on with our life. So financially, we're not putting ourselves at risk by taking care of our mental, physical, and emotional health related to work. So, Jeannie, I'm glad that the situation is better. Hang in there. You're going to be great. Thank you for serving the people of Miami, putting yourself in danger. Mad respect for our officers of the law and officers of peace. They put themselves on the front line every day. So thank you for that. Rachel Cruz, great hour. I want to thank Austin, the entire team, keeping us on the air behind the glass. And to you, America, thank you for listening and watching. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where we help you win in your life, specifically with your money, your work, and your relationships. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Rachel Cruz is my co-host. I am Ken Coleman, and we are thrilled to be with you. We'll take your questions about your money and work-related and income issues today as Rachel and I sit in together. Thrilled to have you with us. John is up in Dallas, Texas. John, how can we help?
Okay.
Hello, John.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Okay, so I'm a band teacher in a public school. I'm single. I'm debt-free. I have 4 months of my income in emergency funds, and I'm pretty much in control of my budget. The part where the reason for my call is that 40% of my income right now is going towards my mortgage. And the way I had tried to justify that the 15% of that was, I'll just cut back on these ratios of my budget to fit that, that payment. And so I've been fine. I still have about 13% left over for miscellaneous after putting in for retirement and savings. But I'm really calling to find out, if I'm lying to myself about what situation I'm in or if I'm truly okay. And last little thing is I really just found you guys 2 weeks ago through the happy hour that you guys have.
Oh yeah.
And
Smart Money Happy Hour.
Just started following your stuff intently the last 2 weeks. So it kind of put me in a guilty place of thinking, if that makes sense.
Well, you've done a fantastic job up until that point, John, without following. I feel like we're some of the only voices out there that are like, be debt free, have an emergency fund, all of that.
Sure.
And you've done it all just on your own, which is very impressive. So the 40%, it is high. I mean, we really do say 25. If you push it to 30, you could, but that 25 marker is kind of where we usually land because we want you to be able to have margin with your money and with your income to do other things. But the fact that, where you are season of life-wise, being single, no kids, like all of it, like you could get away with it if you wanted to, but I just think, John, you would have more of an enjoyable discretionary life and income and stuff with it,
right.
Not eating up more than, close to half your income. Is that take-home pay, by the way?
Yeah, that's take-home pay.
Okay. And tell me about your living situation. Are you living close to the school? Are you house? Are you apartment? Are you condo? Like, where are you at?
So I live in a house where I got my mortgage, and I'm basically about 30 minutes away from the school that I teach at.
Okay.
So I teach in a suburb away from my school just because I couldn't even afford a house by my school.
Yeah.
And so really the reason why I got into the house was I was like, okay, it was a new build, so I wasn't going to go into a bidding war with people at the time and interest rates. And but, like you said, I felt guilty about that 15% of being debt free. I'm kind of like, shouldn't I feel better about myself at this point being debt free? Like, that's kind of what made me really start to question that 15% that was going out to my mortgage, even though the area that I live in, you guys just talked about earlier, it's about 30% of my income just to rent around where I am anyways.
Right.
So that's why I'm kind of like, well, at least I'm investing 15% in something that's appreciating.
Sure.
So again, I don't know if that's just me lying to myself again, or if that's just, well,
I think you answered.
Really trying to not.
Yeah, you answered it in a way though, John, because you said, I feel like I should feel better being debt free than at this point. And I mean, for you, math wise, how much would 15% back in your pocket be for you? Do you know that math off the top of your head?
It's about $600 to $700.
Okay.
Are you single, John?
Yeah. I am. Yeah.
Look, one option for the short term, and I don't know, I'm not getting in your relational business, but would you be willing to get in a roommate or two?
Well, it's funny. I asked someone else, and their reply was get married. And so,
except for the fact we got to find the right person and make sure it's the one for the rest of our lives. All that, yeah.
Are you dating
anyone?
Like, is there someone?
I mean, no.
No, okay.
I mean, sure.
Well, I was going to say
to a roommate,
at some point,
Yeah, roommate.
At some point, I would like to do that, but there's a little bit more to it than just math. But I mean, I've considered a roommate, and to be honest with you, being a band teacher, I mean, I can definitely. The way I thought about it was I can give lessons here and make up for that area of my budget to compensate. And so I don't know if that's something that's also like an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, the way to fix the 40% is up the income or move or find somewhere different. But do you want to, is it worth working extra for you to stay in the house? That would just be the question.
Yeah, that's the question that I honestly kind of go back and forth in.
Yeah. It's kind of that time versus money
thing. In a house. I do like living in a house, and this current market that we're in, to be honest with you, as a teacher, it's very hard to even get a house.
What do you? So what do you owe on the house?
It's $230. Original was $250,000, and what's owed now is $230.
So here's my question: if you're willing to have a roommate or two for a season, maybe it's a year or two. I'll tell you, a year goes by fast. I'm just asking you to consider it. I'm not. You have to comment here on the air. But all of a sudden, if you were able to take that rent that you were to get from someone and put that towards the principal, you have no other debt. You could knock that principal down, and now you put yourself in a really good situation. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're reducing your expenses, so you've got more margin. If you want to start getting lessons on top of that, I just think I would consider that, given the fact that rent is going to be really high where you are and you're already in and you're single. Because he's single, Rachel, I kind of want him to hang on to this thing and find another way to reduce expenses.
Do you see your regular income as a band teacher going up, John? Like, what's the percentage for teachers? Like, what's the raise?
I mean, to be quite honest with you, I think for any teacher, they would love to tell us that our raises go up every year, but really what it does is our raises go up with inflation.
Yeah. It's not that. Yeah.
So in other words, it sounds like it's going up in salary, but it's just really going up with inflation.
But you got your summers, brother. What are you doing this summer?
My summer has literally been, so I'm a pretty frugal person, and my summers are really just staying home, cooking, and just enjoying not commuting, to be honest with you.
Well, if you want to stay in there, I think Rachel asked the right question. Are you willing to get a roommate? Are you willing to work during the summer, bring in some extra income, all to keep the house? And that's your decision. I don't get a say in that, neither does she. But I will tell you, if I was playing the role of your older brother, I'd say keep the house, but change your income situation or reduce your expenses because you're in.
And you could even do the math, John, for next summer and say, gosh, what if I did private lessons next summer from 10 to 3 p.m. every hour? I mean, for 3 months, that's a lot of cash too.
Yeah. So. And a roommate for a season, for a year. Knocks that principal down big time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would say, John, if you had a ton of debt, no savings, I'd get out of that house ASAP. But you're not in that situation, so there's some more time to get some options and to get that income up.
Thanks for the call, John. Don't move. More of The Ramsey Show coming up.
Hey folks, you know that sinking feeling when you make an offer on a house you love and then you hear there's another offer? You need the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge. Super fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate. Plus a $5,000 seller guarantee gives your offer the best chance of being accepted. The Home Buyer Edge from Churchill gives you an advantage over those other guys. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by Rachel Cruz this hour, and we're taking your calls about your money, your work, and your relationships. 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. Abby joins us from our nation's capital. Abby, how can we help?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. I'm so excited to talk to you guys.
Well, we're excited
to
talk to you.
My call.
Yeah. What's going on?
First, Ken, I just have to say I took your Get Clear assessment recently when it was recommended by my therapist, and it gave me so much clarity, with my career, and it described me perfectly. It was wonderful.
Well, that's
thank you.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing that. Glad you're on your way. So how can we help you today?
Yeah, so as of Saturday, I will be debt-free finally.
Yay! Congratulations.
Nice.
Thank you. I put in my application for my debt-free screen, so we'll see if I get down there.
Oh,
Hope to
I
see
hope
you.
that I'm on the show that day. That'll be fun.
Oh, that would be awesome.
All right.
So great.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm getting ready to obviously get into baby step 3. And my question is kind of twofold. The first part is, I know it's 3 to 6 months of expenses, and that's kind of a wide range. So I was hoping you guys could help me nail down, like if you think based on my situation, I can do more 3 or 4 or whatever. And then the second part is like when you're talking about the daily expense or monthly expenses, when I'm looking at my budget, like what budget line should I be looking at in order to create that number, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it's a great question. So for the first one, are you single, married, kids?
I'm single.
Single, okay. And what kind of job do you have?
I work for a school. I'm a program specialist at an elementary school.
Okay, great. Yeah, so in that case, you know, you could lean more 3 months, Abby. I mean, always when there's more things happening, AKA kids, or if there's a job that maybe if you were doing freelance and, you know, your income was very commission based, like anything that has a ton of variables is where I start to lean more to the 6 month side of the 3 to 6 months range. But where you are single, very steady job, consistent income, you know what's coming in, you're able to plan. I mean, I would be comfortable, with you more in the 3 month range for sure.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too. I just wanted to make sure that my
and I would
thinking
say
was
too,
right,
I mean, whatever feels good to you. Because for some people, they're like, nope, I really want that like 5 months, or I just want to have that number because it feels great. Like whatever makes you sleep at night and feel better, do that. But from a mathematical life standpoint, you could totally do the 3 month and be great. And then the other question you had, we get this one too a lot because and this one ranges for people. Everyone kind of has a different opinion on it depending on, honestly, probably your personality. So like for Winston and I just took our standard operating budget for what we spend, which included some luxury things, right? So subscriptions, and it includes us going out to eat. It includes our date nights. It includes kids' sports. Like it's basically our life, basically month to month. And we used that number and did basically 6 months of that. Some other people said, no, I'm going to do a bare bones budget, that if something really happened and I lost a job, I didn't get income, I could cut a bunch of stuff and still be okay with my 4 walls and maybe a few other things. So their number was smaller. So it's wherever you're comfortable at that number is where you would go. So I liked to think if crap hit the fan and something happened, I still want to keep my life as consistent as possible if I can. I mean, obviously, naturally, you would probably pull back anyways. Sure. But I just like to use that number for for the math's sake. But for some people, Abby, they're like, oh no, we would cut everything, which you may do anyways, but and get a smaller number for that to be your emergency fund.
Yeah.
Does that help?
I wasn't sure if it was like selfish of me to include like my entertainment budget and my gym membership. Like I wasn't sure if that was like, oh, you shouldn't include that stuff in what you would consider monthly expenses. But I like what you said with like you would want your life to be as consistent as possible.
And again, the truth is, if something really bad happened, you probably would cut some of that just as a person, just as a human being to be like, I will cut back naturally, but I just like having that bigger number just because it's just that extra cushion. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, and I rent right now, so I don't have any, like, it's not like the hot water heater is going to go or something like that. It's really just my car, and if I was going to lose my job, like, how would I pay my money? But I'm not losing my job anytime soon. So.
Yeah. I think that's great.
Good for you.
Good job, Abby. Well done. Well done.
Fun. Thank you so much for calling. I love that call. Let's go to Ryan next, who joins us in Raleigh, North Carolina. Ryan, how can we help?
Hey, Ken and Rachel, thanks for having me.
Sure.
I have a couple questions. Me and my wife are going to be building our first home soon by the end of the year, and we are considering doing a first lien HELOC instead of a traditional mortgage.
Why?
Just wanted to because, it would give us the ability to pay it down in, 5 to 7 years maybe, if we can be aggressive and putting all of our finances towards it. And I just think it would be
How would you do that? Walk me through that.
So basically, and my dad kind of got me on this because he refinanced several of his properties that he had at 3% into, a HELOC. And we would just be putting like all of our direct deposits towards the, into the home's value to pay that down aggressively.
But why do you need a first lien HELOC to do that?
Well, you tell me. Why would that not?
Well, the first lien HELOC, I mean, a HELOC is taking equity out of your home and borrowing against your house. The first lien HELOC, I guess unless you put down a down payment that you're taking the HELOC out of the front end, not the back end or something. I don't know. Let me just tell you this, Ryan. HELOCs to me equal risk. You're basically borrowing against your house. And if something were to happen, you lose your house if you can't pay it. So in my opinion, I guess you could do that too with a mortgage, but like
mortgage though.
No.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. You're going to get a fixed mortgage versus a HELOC is a variable rate. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, absolutely. But
what?
If we're able to put all of our money into the home, because we have if we're putting extra.
How much money do you guys have to put down on a mortgage? Or a building loan? Are you doing a building loan? Are you doing a construction loan?
Construction loan, yep. But,
and how much will that be for?
$350,000 is going to be the full loan value, but we have $135,000 in cash. And if
you're basically borrowing against that, Ryan.
Here's the deal, Ryan. You don't even understand why you're doing it. When I challenged you on it and said, why wouldn't you just put all of your money into paying off the house through a traditional mortgage?
With the principal.
Towards the principal. And you went, I don't know. Why would I? So I appreciate your dad's influence on your life. He's a good dude. But you don't even understand it. You can't even explain it to me. So you could pay the house off in 7 years, then pay it off in 7 years. I don't know why you need to borrow against yourself. It just seems like you're doing some crazy math gymnastics, or your dad is, and you don't even understand it. So the advice we give to people is to put a big chunk down and a 15-year mortgage and pay it off after you've taken care of all the other debt. In your situation, you guys have no debt but the house, so put a big down payment down and pay it off in a 15-year mortgage, and you're going to be free and you're not doing any gymnastics. But that's what we teach. But if you don't understand this other option that you're bringing to us, we would tell you don't do anything that you don't understand.
Do you understand the first lien HELOC versus a traditional HELOC? What the difference is?
Yeah. I mean, traditional, you're borrowing against your home's equity, but this first lien, we won't have a mortgage. So we'll be able to put, all of our income into the house, and how it operates is we're able to take, equity out to pay our groceries.
That's a terrible idea.
Ryan, no.
You're
because if you lose your job, Ryan, then it's like, oh my gosh, you can't pay for your living. You can pay for nothing. It's like, and then you're risking your own house at that point because you're borrowing against the equity, and then it's not worth what it was worth. Yeah. So that's a messy game. I would not do that.
Do not play that. But hey, that's our take. I think you're going to do what you want to do. This is the Ramsey Show. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us. 888-825-5225 is the number to jump in. 888-825-5225. I'm Ken Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me this hour. Let's go to Preston, who joins us now in Dallas, Texas. Preston, how can we help?
Hey, how's it going, Ken? Thank you all for having me this morning.
Sure.
I'm a married guy with 3 kids. We got a good income of about $190,000 a year, but it seems like we are hemorrhaging money through our miscellaneous budget item and our food item. We've got one car loan. We've got about $12,000 left on that. I've got some medical debt. We had a child this year, so we've got about $6,000 there. And then we've got just some student loans left over that amount to about $4,500, and then a mortgage that's about $200,000 left. So total debt is about $222,000. We make, $185, $190, and it feels like at the end of the month we just have nothing left. I really just kind of wanted to get some insight on what should a family spend, monthly in a miscellaneous item, maybe in the food budget, but we are just spending pretty much what we earn. And, we've gone up in salaries over the last 5 years tremendously. We've doubled what we make, but we're still spending everything we make.
Yep.
And so I cannot figure out how to get over that hump.
Yeah, it's the classic lifestyle creep, right? It's just a little bit here and there, and over time that starts to become your norm, and then you just add a little bit more, and then you look up and you're exactly, what you're saying. Preston, are you guys doing a very detailed budget?
Very detailed. I am in accounting, which is kind of ironic that I'm not good at accounting my own expenses. But, we set a food budget of, let's say, $1,500 to $2,000 a month, and then you sit there and go, hey, we just spent $3,000 on food, and you sit there and go, how are we doing that? Well, as George would like to not hear, we eat out all the dang time.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean,
we got a new baby.
Yeah.
Let's go out to eat. It's easier.
I know.
And we all know that we're going to spend way more there than we do eating at home. But it's really just frustrating to be.
Well, that's what's hard about this, Preston, is with personal finance, we always say it's 80% behavior, it's 20% head knowledge. So you have the head knowledge of the numbers down with the budget of here's what we're going to do, but then you guys are not living on the plan that you've created. You're going over $1,000 in food. You're throwing, a few $100 here or there throughout the month on all this other stuff. And so when you realize that it's more of a discipline problem with you guys and the choices that you're making in everyday expenses, it's sucking the life out of y'all. What I would do, Preston, I would challenge you guys to say, and you know what, if you hold on the line, I'm going to give you the premium version of EveryDollar, because I think EveryDollar is one of the most helpful budgeting tools, because it's going to be able to connect to your bank, and you're going to be able to really be able to see in the way they do the paycheck planning and everything. It's a really easy thing to see, and your wife can have the same login, so you guys both have the app on your phone. And I would practice, Preston, acting like you guys make 80.
Okay.
Act like you're making 80 grand, and do a budget off of that, and just see what happens. Say, okay, then that means we have to way cut back here. That means these, 18 subscriptions we're paying for, we can't do that. That means maybe the kids that are doing the fun little gym classes every 2 days a week, they're not going to do that anymore. Like, you will have to cut back, because I want you to take that 80 grand or more, quote unquote. I'm kind of just using a random number, but I want you paying off the student loan, the car loan. I mean, all these loans that you guys have besides your mortgage, you guys could get this knocked out so quickly. And what I love about this, we always just call it gazelle intense, because it is deep sacrifice. You are running like your hair's on fire, and it's like it is scorched earth. It's like we're doing nothing. We're doing nothing, and we're cutting back. And so that means maybe even cutting back more than 80. I was just saying, as a fun mathematical game on the budget, just look to see what you would cut. Start there. And then I would trim back as much as you guys can, Preston, because I want you guys to feel progress with your money, and it feels like you're spinning your wheels. You got all this debt hanging around. You're living still paycheck to paycheck, and there's been no progress. And so in order to get these wins, like, there's some stuff in lifestyle that you will cut, and it'll hurt. It will not be fun. And I know with a new baby, it's like you guys are all exhausted. I get it. But this is the time to do it, to buckle down and say it's now or never. It's for a short period of time, because then when all that's gone, Preston, I mean, how much is going out in payments for this debt per month besides your mortgage? Do you have that? How much is going out just to debt?
I do. So for our medical debt, we've got a high deductible insurance plan. So we've got an HSA that I've got that set up to to wipe that out in the year to where, that doesn't hang around. So that's automatically off the top. And then we've got my wife's car loan that we pay about $2,500 a month on it.
Holy crap. What kind of car is it?
We're taking some chunks at this.
Whoa.
Oh, you're paying extra. You're paying extra.
Okay. Payment's only $500.
Okay.
About $2,500.
Okay.
But you sit there and go, I think we've got more in the budget. But, we just, once we get to the end of the month to make an extra payment, it's not there. And it's just super frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, it's because you're living like you're making $190 and spending everything. So
let's just look at this. What's the smallest debt that you have?
That'd be the student loans. We've got 3 of them for the Sally Mae loans, but they total about $4,500.
Okay, so instead of focusing on the $12,000 car loan, focus on the student loan.
Yeah.
And go ahead and just get that knocked out.
So what's the payment? What's the minimum payment on the student loan right now? The 3 of them together, if they're all bunched.
And that's the bad deal is y'all know they're in forbearance, so we haven't even been paying on them. We've been just chunking at her car loan. And I know that's not what baby step 2 is for that gazelle intensity.
Well, okay.
But we said, hey,
here's the point I'm trying to make. If you stay with this and you work this plan, you guys first of all, you need to stop eating out. Like, no more. Like, you guys got to stop. You got to get everybody on board.
Eat turkey sandwiches at night. Do eggs and bacon for dinner. I mean, like, you can do cheap meals, right, for a season. It's not forever.
You're an accountant. Your issue is not the numbers. The issue is the behavior. And if you guys try it for 1 month and go, you know what, we're all in. We're not going to eat out one time at all, just to see how much money you can save extra. And the point is, we knock out the student loans, then we knock out the car payment, and all of a sudden, you've got more margin than you realize. I know you're discouraged, but you've got more margin in that budget than you realize. But you've got to change your spending habits. And if you do that, and if we can get some extra income, we sell some stuff in this debt snowball, whatever we got, we can find margin pretty quickly. As detailed as you are, grasping the numbers, you and your wife have got to sit down and go, if we do this, and then we do this, and we do this like crazy for the next 6, 12 months, here's how much progress we'll make. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, this is doable. I think you're just discouraged right now.
And Preston, I'll add on that for Ken, because this is always helpful for me. Whenever we're doing a big goal, so whether for you it's getting out of debt or, it's saving up for something, look at the time frame, run the numbers like what we're saying, and just know and say, okay, we are confident, it's July right now. So we are confident, by dang Christmas, we're going to do it from now till Christmas. Yeah. It's go time. I mean, or whatever the date is, but have that date, because that gives you the light at the end of the tunnel, that you're not going to live in this world forever and ever. Amen. You can actually enjoy what you're working, but you're not enjoying your money now because, again, I think so much of it is this debt and so much of it is that lifestyle. Because once you guys pay this off, do you have any savings at all, Preston? Do you guys have cash in the bank?
Yeah, we have some, but not enough to cover any of it.
How much?
We've got our emergency fund, just the starter emergency fund.
Okay, so you got $1,000. That's where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you sell your wife's car? We're running out of time, but I mean, you got to look at everything, man. Selling cars, everything. You're going to reduce your monthly payments and increase your income. So for you, my friend, I know you're an accountant, but there's a lot of gig work right now for accountants. I'd be working 60, 80 hours a week doing accounting work because you can get paid very well for freelance work. Income goes up, expenses go down.
You guys can access this out quick.
Get after it. And then you'll see some breathing room, and then you realize, okay, we can stay the course. Thanks for the call. You'll get there, Preston. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by Rachel Cruz. Thrilled that you are with us this hour. Our scripture of the day comes from Hebrews 6:11. We want each of you to show the same diligence to the very end, so that what you hope for may be fully realized. Our quote today from Arnold Palmer. For some of you, you just think that's a beverage.
He was a golfer.
He was a man, a great golfer, one of the greatest golfers of all time. The road to success is always under construction.
Love that.
Yeah, feels like every road in America is as well. Well, that's a separate issue. Today's question of the day is sponsored by Neighborly, your hub for home services to repair, maintain, or improve your home. Researching dozens of providers is a thing of the past. Neighborly is all you need to remember for a nationwide network of local home service pros. Visit neighborly.com to find help near you.
And today's question comes from Sarah in New Mexico. What are some things that you do to make fun memories as a family without spending money or going really cheap?
Ah.
That's good.
I actually have one after. I mean, you're the expert on all that stuff, but.
Go, Ken. What's yours?
Well, so I've got teenagers now.
Yes.
And game night.
That was going to be mine. Ours is Jenga right now.
Board games has been great. We introduced the oldest, Ty. You know Ty. He's very cynical. And we kind of forced it. We're like, this is happening. Like, you can go out with your friends.
Yes.
But we're going to do this. And we taught him how to play Clue, the classic, crime caper. Was it Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with the candlestick? Yes. And he just had the worst attitude about it. And about 20 minutes in, guess who was the most enthusiastic? It was Ty. So, the classic board games is really fun, and that costs zero money. And again, I'm talking teenagers now, great memories. When they were little, I will tell you, going to local and state parks, feeding ducks, playground time, that costs you zero money.
Yep.
And as a parent, you're remembering all those things. So those are two that stick out to me.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I was going to say game night because my kids, they're old enough now to do like the memory game.
Oh, love the memory
Jenga,
game.
all that kind of stuff. But I'd say that. I mean, we do stuff around our neighborhood. I'm like, if we have a pool in a community pool in our neighborhood. I don't know, everyone does, but for us, I'm like, that's a night. I mean, you're paying the HOA fee for it, I guess.
Yeah, you might as well. Right.
But using that, we do a lot of walks. The girls will scooter, bike, and Charles is old enough now, no stroller, so we'll do night walks. We'll do stuff in the driveway. I'll go to Big Lots and get just some like cheap summer stuff, sidewalk chalk, badminton stuff. I mean, like just really cheap things, and they love it. I'm like, so it's amazing how much, and I'm sure, and I know the teenagers are the same way, Ken, how much they just want to be with you. Yeah. And even this morning as I was like getting ready and coming here, and Charles was like, Mommy, look at me. And I realized I had been on my phone doing stuff. And I was like, oh yeah. And so I'm like, they just want you. And so, yes, is Disney World fun? It's all like extravagant stuff. Sure, absolutely. But man, the quality of time that your kids want, you don't have to do a ton. Do a puzzle, like whatever it is. But it's amazing that they want that quality time.
Here's a cheap one. All right. And this comes from the lower middle class Coleman family. When we were growing up, my dad wouldn't buy the wet banana or the slip and slide, whatever it was called back then. So he went and got a big sheet.
Tarp.
Like a tarp.
Yeah.
And he just got the garden hose out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's in the backyard. One of the most fun memories I've ever had. We used to do it all the time. It cost you no money other than a little of the water bill.
Yep.
But it's a great memory, and everybody's slipping and falling. And if you get, the grandparents out there and they bust it, and the kids love that. That's kind of fun. Got to be careful, though. We don't want hip replacements.
Yeah, we don't want medical expenses after this.
So be careful. But the old homemade slip and slide, that's always great fun. Garden hose and some cheap plastic.
Yes, and I think just getting out and doing stuff. We have friends, and they have kind of like a farm-esque setup. And my kids would stay out in their backyard with their chicken coop, everything for hours.
Really?
Hours. Love it. They
Are you
love
doing
it.
the chicken coop there in the fancy Brentwood?
No, we're not.
Okay.
But I'm not against it.
Yeah. I'm all.
We have a big garden. So
I'm all for it. I just want to get the eggs from somebody else. I don't want the mess in the backyard.
I know.
You know what my problem would be? The rooster at 5 a.m.
Well, you don't have to have the rooster.
I know you don't have to. But that's kind of traditional. You kind of want to do the whole thing,
like
don't
a farm.
you?
No.
You don't want to do the rooster?
No.
Just the layers.
Just give me the eggs.
Chickens.
I'm just going for the eggs.
All right. I get it. I thought I would do the whole thing. I get it. You don't need the rooster. I understand. I'm going to get all kinds of comments about that. But anyway, nonetheless, I think it's kind of fun to have him walking around.
It is true. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
All right.
Totally.
I digress. Zach is on the line in Alberta, Canada. Zach, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for taking my call today.
You bet. What's up?
So I'm a heavy equipment operator for a commercial construction company that's had some really great steady growth, and they pay me well to operate equipment. I kind of gross around $80,000 to $85,000 a year working for these guys. And I just had a conversation here earlier, and basically they wanted to offer me a foreman position promotion, which is a job I've done before, but it's great. It's just there's a lot of added stress and time constraints surrounding your job versus operating the gear. Mm-hmm. The second part to this question is I have a side hustle that's kind of a passion / hobby. I build and repair guitars, and that's really great. It kind of gives me an income around $500 to $1,200 a month, and I just continue to kind of circle and cycle that back into that hobby so I can buy more tools, more equipment, that kind of stuff. Good. And so I guess the question that I have today is, if I go for this promotion, I'm going to get faster through baby step 2, but I'm going to take away from my side hustle, which is a passion. So I guess I'm kind of caught here because my wife and I have been committed to the plan. We've paid $60,000 in consumer debt in the last 12 months.
Nice.
So we're pushing hard, and we want to continue to push hard. But I guess we're kind of at a crossroads here where I might have to stop and hang up this side hustle that I love doing.
How much debt do you guys have left?
So we have $27,000, $27,540 and change
left.
All right, so here's the deal. I can hear in your voice you do not want to be a foreman. Is this true?
Yeah, I had a real bad run with the last time that I did it.
Good. No need to explain. No need to explain. You don't want to do it. I could tell. I could hear it all over you. And you really, really love this guitar side hustle. And the fact of the matter is, if you didn't keep pouring the money back into it for the tools and you did what you did to get to this point, you could get out of debt even faster. I'd stop investing in the guitar business, and any money I made from the guitar business, I'd put it into the debt snowball, and you can get out faster. I would say no to the promotion. And just tell them, you know what, I don't want to be in leadership. I didn't have a good experience before, and I'm really happy operating the machinery. That's a good $80,000 base that'll keep you stable. And then eventually, if you build this side hustle up to where you're making $80,000, you step into that. But I think the answer is no to being the foreman, and I would just stop reinvesting the guitar side hustle money. I'd put that in the debt snowball, and you're out of debt even faster. True?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point.
But hey, that's what I think I'm hearing. How do you feel?
Did that feel like that felt good when Ken said that and gave you permission to stay where you are?
Yeah, it does feel good. I think that where my brain goes is, I was in, we'll call it 2 years ago when I was a foreman, and I was amassing all this consumer debt because my wife's a saint, and it wasn't her. It was definitely me. And I just think back to how I had vowed to really put effort into dealing with this debt, but also not just, giving up on growing a dream on behalf of my kids, because the economy is getting crazy.
Zach, you're trying to talk yourself into that this is a good idea. I think you feel guilty for not taking a promotion. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think.
But you shouldn't.
I think that I do.
But Zach, you shouldn't feel guilty. You shouldn't feel guilty at all. You've done the hard work. You don't owe your wife or anybody taking a job that you're going to be miserable in just because you said you do everything you can. Go fix more guitars. Go get a side hustle over there if you want to do more, but don't take this promotion. You're going to end up regretting it, I promise. You're fine. You're going to be out of debt before you know it. Do exactly what I said before, and I think you're going to feel better, and you're going to have a better relationship. Everything's going to be better, my friend. You're going to be out of debt. So don't take this promotion. Rachel Cruz, great hour. Thanks for hanging out.
Ken.
As always, Austin, our fearless leader, and the crew behind the glass, thank you all. And you, America, thanks for listening. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's Ken. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.